If you're spending hours a day staring at your phone, don't know what to post or when to post it or what to even fucking say, I'm going to show you how to make consistent content without burning yourself out in less than 4 hours a week. This is a system that I use from businesses only turning over 5 figures a year to 7-figure operations. And the best part about this is you don't need a fancy setup, cameras, lighting or anything. You literally just need to implement this system. Hi, if you've never met me before, my name is Emily Toppling. I've been specialising in social media marketing for several years now. Specifically, my niche is helping people with service-based businesses, so online PTs, freelance photographers, services like the gym. And by using my skill set, which is creative, to be able to turn their existing audience into clients, which is then turned into revenue. But there is something that I have noticed all the way from people doing this as a side hustle to 5-figure businesses and beyond, is that they seem to be stuck on the same problem, which is what to say, how to say it, and when to say it. And also juggling that beautiful little thing called burnout. So if it sounds familiar, this video is probably going to be for you. Today I'm walking you through the exact systems that I use on multiple clients in less than 4 hours a week to be able to create monthly content over and over and over again without burning out. So I do suggest that you take notes throughout the entirety of this video to help you, but if you want to wait, there is going to be a workbook inside of the description at the bottom that you can take and just work through that as well. So before we get into the how and the system, we need to actually talk about what content actually is, because if you understand content as an entirety, it will make you understand the system better. Content is not just motivational quotes or pretty pictures. It kind of serves 3 purposes if you are using it for a business asset, which is 1 is awareness. You want to be seen. 2 is engagement. You want it to start conversations. You want your content to provoke people to start a conversation with you. And 3 is the best thing that everyone gets so hooked on, which is conversions. Why would someone want to buy your product or service? Think about it like this. Before the internet existed, you went to the same butcher, the same hairdresser, the same supermarket, probably not just because it was convenient and at the end of the road, but because of the person behind the business. They had built a reputation, word of mouth, and physically being in front of you, probably chatting to you down in the pub, and you built a relationship with them. The difference is now you've just got the whole internet to work with. So there's so much noise and fuzziness that people get so lost in, and all you need to do is just focus your attention onto your ICA, which is your ideal client avatar, and then directly speak to them. But then you're probably thinking, so Emily, how do I cut through all of that noise? Because it's so freaking loud. Most people will probably tell you that it's really complicated, but it's actually not. You don't need an elaborate strategy or expensive ads that you don't really know what you're doing, so you're just throwing shit at the wall and hoping that it sticks. It's actually one of the easiest things that you can do when starting a business, or actually keeping a business going, is understanding one thing. Like one person, your ICA. So if you did grab a notebook or you downloaded the workbook, now this is where you've got to start putting it in play, because we are going to spend 30 minutes now just figuring out what your ICA is and deep diving into that conversation. So you might have to pause this video a few times to be able to conduct the exercise. So as I said before, your ICA is your ideal client avatar. This is the person that you're speaking to in every single piece of content. Not everyone, not anyone, this one very specific person. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to block out some time now, probably pauses between each section, and just fill out these specific things. So first one is demographic. So their age, location, income, family situation, career. 2, it's going to be their daily life. What's currently stressing them out at the minute? What makes them happy? Kind of what makes them tick. 3 is going to be the pain point. So especially if you're like an online PT, a pain point is probably going to be they don't feel comfortable in their skin. 4 is desire. What do they actually want? What is the conversation that they're not willing to have? 5, I think I'm on now. Objections. Why are they making excuses to not work with you? And the final one is find out where they hang out. So do they listen to a lot of podcasts? Do they consume a lot more short form content, long form content? This will make it easier to create content around your ICA. If you know that this guy or girl is currently sitting listening to 3 hours of podcasts a day because that's what they do to and from work, you might want to invest into long form content. So by the end of this exercise, you should have literally a physical person. And to be honest, what's worked for me before and other clients is I've actually given them a name, and it makes it feel a little bit more friendly. So I'm actually going to run through an example that I did with someone else. And this is a guy who is in their 40s to 50s. They want to feel the same way that they did in their 20s, and they just feel really, really lost, and you're an online fitness coach trying to provide that service to them. So your ICA might be David. He's 47 years old. He's married with 2 children. He's a senior tech management in an IT company. He used to play rugby, but his idea of exercise now is walking from the office to the car. His back hurts. He doesn't feel loved by his wife anymore. They don't really have any intimacy. She keeps complaining that he's snoring. He's worried that he's not going to be around for his grandkids, and if he is, he's going to be tied to a chair. And he's also kind of embarrassed to start working out in a gym because he doesn't know where to start, and from someone with a fitness background, he feels a bit stupid. See how specific that was? I literally wrote out an entire person. I gave him a name. He has a life. He has a career. All of these things to formulate this perfect person that you want to create your content around. I didn't just talk to men wanting to lose weight and feel like they're in their 20s again. I spoke specifically to David. And the best part about this is there is a David out there that is going to see the content that you're about to create and go, holy fucking shit, that's me. And then they're going to want to talk to you. So you've done your ICA work, and to be honest, you should have a crap ton of ideas now, but you're probably thinking, Emily, it's not that easy. So yeah, we're not going to stop there. I could just finish this video, have my protein shake, and I don't know, go to bed. But we're going to deep dive into it a little bit more to give you more of a well-rounded view of how to do this system. So now what we want to do, I'm going to keep David as my example because it's easier to explain, but you want to come up with content pillars. So I've actually done this before with a client of mine where we wrote it all out on a whiteboard. Ooh, but for David, David's different, so we'll go through David. So you want, number 1 is sustainable fitness for busy professionals. So obviously David is a senior manager at a tech company. So he's probably used to working a bit of overtime and staying late in the office. So you need to be able to accommodate that and make content around it. 2, one that works really, really well across the board is not only talking about physical health, but mental health and the other additions that come with that. Online PTs really have a good space in the environment to be able to discuss this quite openly. 3, you want to talk about nutrition. Why do you choose the choices that you do? Why do you like egg whites in the morning and not protein porridge? Like, explain those sorts of things. 4 is kind of like building strength after 40. So if you were going after guys in their 20s, you want to say to be able to keep longevity all the way through to your 40s. In your 40s, you want to go backwards, and what things can you do to ensure that you stay fit and healthy well into your 60s? And then a pillar that should always be in your content is real life transformations and stories that you've got with other clients. If you're beginning and this is the very, very start of your journey, that is one thing that I do really, really suggest that you focus some time on, even if that means that you have to do giveaways or free things in order to attain that social proof. Still do it. And also, side note, because I'm definitely going off script now, social proof is not just someone who lost 40 pounds. That's not social proof. Social proof is getting a text message saying that they woke up and didn't feel like they were dying as they got out of bed, that they actually ran around with their kids after school, that they actually felt like they connected with their wife and went out for dinner. Those things are still social wins. You should be able to collect them anonymously if you would like, or if the person has given you permission to post it. Absolutely fine, but that is also considered as social proof. So when you're starting, you don't have to wait 3-4 months for that massive online fitness transformation. You can focus on all those little wins that come with it. That's a little side note. You're welcome. I should never keep to a script because I can't. But essentially every single piece of content that you make should fall into one of those pillars that I said before. But remember, this is for David. So you need to figure out how it works for your ICA. And you want to do that really so you don't ramble and go off script a lot of the time. I know I'm a great person to show that one for, but it keeps you more consistent to the audience that you're actually trying to attract. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your ICA and you're going to go and find the pain points of said ICA. So I wrote down a few for David, so I'm going to go through them with you right now. So he's a 47-year-old dad who wants to lose weight but has no time because of family responsibilities. Here is stuff that I came up with. Do you want to walk your daughter down the aisle without feeling overweight and unhappy, but actually feeling strong and confident? 15-minute workouts that you can do while your kids are doing homework. Why your kids need to see you prioritizing your health and fitness. The real reason that you're actually too tired to work out and how to fix it effectively. What I told my client who said he didn't have time for the gym. Your son is physically watching you, so what message do you want to send? Funny story, my camera decided to die, and then I spilled protein shake on me, so we're going to continue from there. All of those things that I literally just said, see how specific they are to your ICA? So I'm talking directly to David. I'm literally talking to his pains, his fears, his desires, with a bunch of different content. I think that was 6 in 2 minutes that I wrote down on my notes before recording this. Look at your ICA and figure out exactly how you need to be speaking to them. That was 2 minutes. 6 ideas, 2 minutes. Imagine what you could do in 30 if you just consistently ask yourself questions. And also, to be totally honest, put your personable side of it as well. What have you done that can also relate to them? Because a lot of the time a lot of the people that I talk to, they're like bodybuilders or they compete in some sort of high level sport, but their audience is actually general Jack and Joes of the world, and they feel like they can't connect to them, and that's a lie. You can connect to them because everyone's human at the end of the day. So you still might struggle to get up in the morning, but how do you do it? How do you keep that accountability? How do you stay disciplined? There's so many things. It's like working with a toddler. That's a really great way to think about it, because if you consistently see it that way, a toddler will always ask you why if they don't understand. So just keep asking why. Why would you do this? Why would you go there? Why would you implement this? So now we're going to move on to the fun part, which is creating the actual content. And this is where people, oh my God, some of the responses that I've had to this just blow me away. Okay, fine. Don't look at the setup that I currently have. But people are like, I need to be able to afford a £5,000 camera and fancy microphones and professional lighting before I can take one piece of content. You're lying. You don't need that at all. You really don't. You can use your iPhone. Like, these things are bloody brilliant now. Like, take your iPhone, put it on a tripod, or just even like just a nice space. Put yourself next to a well-lit window. That'll give you loads of natural lighting, and then just film the freaking content. So here's a process that I put together for a recent client of mine, and it's worked really well for her, so I'm going to give it to you. On Monday or Tuesday, you have an ideation sort of day, which is only 20 minutes. It's not long, but here's the things that it needs to cover. You need to take your either notebook or the workbook that we've given you, and you take your ICA and your content pillars, and you pull out 6 pieces of content from that. You want to be able to match the content to a certain pillar. And then you also want to be able to do a draft script. So for an example, I'm trying to write scripts before I film because I usually go off on a tangent, which you found I'm already doing anyway, so it's going splendid. But if you give yourself a rough guideline of what you want to cover within the video, it will stop you from rambling, and it means you get to the point quicker. Remember that the attention span of people is not very long at the moment, so if you're still here, thanks. But yeah, you want to kind of, especially on short form like Instagram, you want to be able to condense what you want to say in a very short period of time. It's all the benefit of using AI as well. Like, if you can write something up which is a draft about maybe that 15-minute workout while your kids are doing homework, you can throw that into AI and tell it literally with a simple prompt saying, make this into a video script for an Instagram reel that's less than 30 seconds. And it will give you an idea. But please, for the love of God, use AI as an asset, not your entire business, because people will see completely through it. You need to bring your personality to it. Otherwise, your business is never going to be able to scale where you want it to. Then you move on to Wednesday or Thursday, which is another about 20-minute block of actually creating the content. So you did your ideation point on Monday or Tuesday, and now you're going to create the content. So set up your camera, keep it going, don't stop. Just keep going with the flow. You're kind of practicing anyway, so if you're not confident in talking on a camera in general, you want to make sure that you consistently get into the rhythm of generally speaking to a camera, feeling comfortable in front of the camera and moving through the motions. It's one of these things that one day I will probably pull out a video of me 7-8 years ago when I first started creating my own content on social media, and how terrible it was, and how many ums and ahs and buts and maybes were smothering my content, and I just never really knew what to say. And also remember, if you've made 6 pieces of content, if you were to post every single day, that's only one day that you're missing. I usually suggest in the beginning you consistently post 3 times a week to build up the kind of the reps. And if your ideation session has gone really well, you've got 6 pieces of content to film. It doesn't mean that you need to film all 6 pieces of those content, but if you've committed to maybe posting 3 times a week, you need to film 3 of them. And then you can just kind of ebb and flow between it and see which ones suit you best. On Friday, it's editing it and it's scheduling it. So it's very, very easy. There are so many different platforms that you can use to make your life so much easier. You do not need fancy editing software and pay a crap ton of money for all the effects that come with it. You can simply use things like CapCut, and Instagram actually has a really good built-in editing software now, which is proving very successful for people, but I personally think CapCut's just slightly better. Then you want to schedule your content. That's whether you do it through Meta Business Suite, Later, Hootsuite, or whatever tool that you prefer. There's another video that is coming soon in the future that goes through actually scheduling content, just this specific topic. And when that happens, I don't know, maybe it'll just pop up on the screen right now. Who knows? And that's your commitment. Within a 40 to 60 minute block per week, you've already done everything. You've committed to your 3 posts a week, but you've got 6 ideas that are fully written out and scripted. So if you were able to do an ideation session and you were able to do 12 pieces of content in that same 20 minutes and have that all done, you could make 12 pieces of content for that entire week. That's way more than you need. So you have like 2 to 3 weeks worth of content within 1 hour. And that's what I mean. You literally don't need more than 4 hours to be able to create a month's worth of content. And here's the thing that people will probably not tell you, is that the algorithm doesn't give a shit if it's perfect. The algorithm thrives on consistency. It's better to put out a video that's not 100% but speaks to your ideal audience than putting out a perfect reel every 3 to 5 weeks and hoping for the best. And a key takeaway for you: your audience doesn't need you to be a cinematographer. They need you to show up, be real, and solve the problems that they have. So that's it, we've got towards the end. So here is your commitment. If you've taken the workbook or you've made notes, commit now, right now, today, to just putting this system in place for the next 4 weeks and see how you get on. 40 minutes a week for ideation, creation, scheduling, and editing. Post 3 times a week with this new content, speaking directly to your ICA. And a little extra nugget is don't finish everything with a CTA, so a call to action. So basically being like, hey, book a free call with me and stuff like that, because some people will just be waiting for you to ask them to do something, if that makes sense, instead of you just giving pure value for free. The biggest lie that I got told when I first started in this industry is that you had to give your entire life to it. I mean, I do pretty much, but I do it for a variety of different businesses. You don't actually need to spend the entirety of your time focusing on content. You should probably be focusing on giving the best service to your clients, which I'm sure that's what you want to be doing. Week 1 is going to feel really awkward. Week 2, you might start getting in your rhythm. Week 3, it'll just become kind of a consistent thing that you do. And week 4, it's going to be set into your habit mentality. And hopefully by week 8 of doing this consistently and speaking to the right audience and having the right conversations, you're going to see the benefits of doing that, which means you're going to be having better conversations with strangers on the internet who want to buy your service. And I know this might feel simple, maybe a little bit too simple, but I've literally watched this system transform businesses across the entirety of the time that I've been in the industry. It removes the mental load. It takes away that decision making. It stops you from procrastinating and deflecting away from it. You're not burning out, you're not scrambling for ideas. It's all consistently in front of you, and if you have anything like a whiteboard, you can consistently be adding to those ideas regardless of whether you're filming it now or in 3 weeks time. You've planned it, you've batched it, and you're showing up. That's the best part. Now, as I said, there is a workbook that should be in the description right below me that you can take, that literally everything that I've just discussed, it just puts it in a consumable format that you can just follow along and fill it out yourself. And this is the part where most social media managers or content marketers, creative consultants will probably say that this is where I'm going to throw you a CTA, and if you want to work with me, then you should DM me on my Instagram, which probably is going to pop up at the screen at some point. But to be totally honest, I would love to just have a chat with you. The reason that I've started making this content is because I found that as I've developed in my own career and my own businesses, I found out that there's a lot of gaps in the industry that no one's talking about. And that's why I wanted to make this content. I wanted to be able to open up people's eyes to the simplicities of how creative consultancy goes. You know, like my line of work, what I'm good at is by using creative outlets to be able to get you the life that you want, the revenue that you want, the sort of attention that you want. So no, it's not a CTA. I don't want any of your money. I'm not going to tell you to book a call with me or anything like that. But if you do want to continue the conversation, my Instagram is Emily E. Topping. And I hope so darn much that you took something positive out of this. And if you did, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, talk to me personally on Instagram or any other social media platform. And I hope to hear from you soon.